To the Legacy Builders podcast, where we are redefining generational wealth one story at a time. I'm your host, Mario Gonzalez Jr., and if you're looking to build something bigger than yourself, then you're definitely in the right place. Today's guest, we have Mr. Tyler Proctor, one of the founders of 3CC, Third Collective. Recently just ventured off into entrepreneurship. So you're fairly young too, and I say young, late 20s now?
23.
Yeah, 23, early 20s. I did not know you were that young, man. Dang, well, that's awesome. Kick ass, man. So before we dive into your story and what broke you out of your 9-to-5 journey, explain to us what your definition of generational wealth is.
I think generational wealth to me, actually, a lot of people probably define it as a money thing, right? As a fiscal thing, right? Maybe a number in their account. To me, it's actually the legacy that you leave behind. Who's going to remember you when you're done with this life, right? We're only have such a small fraction of time in this world to live, right? What are you going to do for the generations coming after you, right? What are you going to teach your kids and then even their kids, right? What effects are you going to make on people's lives that they'll be able to talk about you for generations to come? Okay. So that's pretty much, at least to me, that's generational wealth.
Okay. Who was Tyler before 3CC and DynoPro?
I guess before 3CC, in like literal terms, I was just a college kid, right? I graduated from Boise State University, got a business degree there. I would say when I was there, I partied a lot, right? As any other college kid did. Partied a lot. I was, I'm still, of course, a son. I moved here from Denver, so I grew up there, moved here, and was a total different experience, right? Kind of being on your own a little bit. I would say I was just a little bit more immature, of course. Like we all go through that stage, but definitely was partying a lot more. Wasn't working as hard. I was definitely, I probably hit a stage, but probably the day I turned like almost 20. I was close to graduating, and I actually had a class where I really made me think about my why, like what my why is, what my effect I want to leave in this world. That was when everything changed, I would say. But everything before that, I was probably just a kid. Didn't really know what he wanted to do with his life. Knew I wanted to get a business degree and maybe be open with it. Didn't know what route I wanted to go. I didn't know I wanted to start a nonprofit or start a company that revolved around this property maintenance industry I'm in right now. Just trying to still figure it out,
Okay. You've had a lot of different jobs. From food to contracting recently. Have you recognized any patterns kind of looking back?
Patterns in the jobs I always liked would probably be anything that's like a service related. So I've done a bunch of food service, right? Like my first ever job was working for Raising Cane's. Did that for a while when I was 16, found my way back into serving and bartending, and I've always loved that. I even wanted to start a little side gig out of it. At one point I did car detailing, and that was service, right? So everything that I've done that I've loved, DynoPro, right? It's a property maintenance company and it provides a service. I'm not really into product sales, if that makes sense. The only time I ever sold a product was once, and it was kind of a weird product anyway. But even when I worked at a gym, that's where I got my first experience in this like real sales.
Selling memberships.
Yeah, I was selling memberships and training. The only products I guess I really sold were like creatine and supplements, but I was terrible at that. Like I never really did that well. I was always better about, why, asking a customer why this service is like something they're looking at and why it might help them and what their goals are. I was kind of better about those kind of sales, and I just have more passion in them.
I feel like it's a lot easier to sell something. It depends on the salesperson, right? But it's easier to sell something that you actually believe in, especially if you know the customer needs it. Because when I was in banking, I worked at an in-store branch, and you had people coming in, they just want to cash their check. But you have management breathing down your neck, trying to sell them a credit card, trying to get them into a savings account, right? Stuff that they don't need. Hey, man, I just want to give them their money so they can leave, right? Go home to their families. So was there ever a point during that time when you were W-2, that you thought maybe entrepreneurship wasn't for you?
Honestly, I don't think so at all. So to kind of give you more background on me going to school, technically my degree was in entrepreneurship management. So even though I went to school, I kind of used getting a degree as like ammo just in case, right? Like go work for a company and learn before you know commit to a full-blown company and spend all this money and kind of go down that route.
Yeah.
I knew that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know when I was going to be an entrepreneur, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I tried it when I was 18, doing that little car detail business. It was, hopefully the IRS isn't watching this, but I never tracked anything. I didn't pay any taxes on that or anything.
Yeah.
I was just like an 18-year-old, I would say still a kid in my eyes, doing it out of my parents' garage. And, my dad had the air compressor and a vacuum and a carpet cleaner and stuff. I just bought a couple of other things and then was doing the neighborhood's car and different cars around the neighborhood and crap. And then that kind of shut that down when I moved here. So I always knew that was my first introduction to how I could market to people and connect with them and provide a service just on my own, under my own name and my own control. It wasn't until just recently, I made the bigger jump of making it official, right? But I would say since I was even 16 years old, I knew I wanted to start my own business, mainly because I'm a really bad employee.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't take direction well.
Yeah.
I don't listen to when it comes to being in a collaborative space.
Yeah.
I can be, but I can be
a lone wolf.
stubborn.
Yeah.
I guess you could say I might see a vision, and I honestly sometimes have a hard time voicing it or justifying it, right? And when you're dealing with someone else's company or someone else's finances, right? If they have to commit to you and your vision, it might be scarier without.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
A huge reason why I hesitated going into the sales world, at least software sales, is because your job's not certain, right? It's always on the line. If you don't hit your quota, then you could be let go. Any little reason, they'll look forward to if you're not producing, right? I know you recently went through that situation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would crumble trying to figure out what they're going to do next and scramble and maybe get a job working fast food or whatever it is just to pay the bills. You kind of use it as fuel, right? So what did that moment do for you, or what did it do to you?
I would say it's funny because I think sometimes, and tell me if you've experienced this, you can maybe see a firing happen, maybe preemptively.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You can feel it in the air.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? It was the same week they had their office manager cut hours and all this stuff, and the owners were trying to be more involved in the business, which was opposite from their original goal of exiting and being more of a, more maybe where you're at with business, where you have all your operators in place and your managers, and you kind of you're the owner of the business, but you have all your systems in place.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like they were getting rid of systems and just putting themselves back in. So I even remember talking about this with a buddy where it's do you think I could get fired? Do you think I could get let go? And he's it'd be crazy to let you go, blah, blah, blah. Look at all the, the different revenue you've brought in. At the same time, I'm there could be something going on.
Yeah.
So in that moment, you kind of start to prepare, you start to think, the anxiety sits in. So I already knew, based off my prior experience of obviously being in sales roles, marketing, and then the actual industry specific property maintenance, the different companies I've worked for, I had a feeling. I was if something were to happen, I think I'm just gonna start my own property maintenance company because I have a lot of passion and know a lot about it, right? The moment, I don't know if I've actually told you the story of how I got let go, but pretty much I was ready to go over a quote for a customer. And typically we had a meeting a week where we would go over our big ones.
Yeah.
But if it was a small one, it was more or less hey boss, does this look good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna send this out. That's what I was ready to do, is go, boss man, check this out. Looks good? No, oh, you want me to raise it? Okay, whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead it was, hey, let's meet in the conference room. And I was like, okay. Like, I didn't even think about it. I was like, I guess, like, maybe you got news for me. Like, other news. Like, I didn't think about it in that moment. I tried to plug in my computer, and they were like, let's hold off. And they pretty much just, slowed that piece of paper, said, sign here. And in that moment, the first thought, I kid you not, the first thought was, it's time for me to do my own thing. Like, I feel ready now.
So you didn't have like a fear, right? You had a little bit of anxiety because you knew something was coming. But when it actually happened and it came down to it, you weren't like, oh shit, what do I do now? You already had a game plan.
Yeah, my game plan was, I'm never going to be put in this situation again, if that makes sense. That second that, because I have a girlfriend, and I have a 2-year-old stepdaughter at home, and I definitely help provide with those things. So, and I want to create, one of my goals is having a family, right? If I keep turning jobs, or if I get fired because of someone else's decisions, then that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I'd rather create my own success and my own sustainability through my own actions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just in that moment, when I had to sign that paper, I was like, I can't work for someone again. Like, even if the number is too good, even if it's this gnarly number, it's like, I think I just got to create my own number at this point.
Yeah. Do you think that you would have gotten that push sooner while you were still working a 9-to-5? Or was that the ultimate push for you?
That was the catalyst, probably.
So if they would have employed you for the next year,
I probably would still be there for sure. Because the longer that I can learn under someone else, I mean, the more the merrier, at least to me, especially if it's like an industry you're trying to get into. I think it's totally okay if you are a W-2 employee. If anything, I urge most entrepreneurs to be a W-2 employee for a while, to learn the game, figure it out, see what's right, see what's wrong. Don't go into a new, endeavor blind. We do have to be a little delusional as entrepreneurs, but don't be so delusional you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I probably would still be there. Yeah. I had a lot of passion. I actually did like the company a lot, but getting let go was like the final catalyst of like, all right, I'm going to control my own destiny going forward.
Yeah. So why contracting?
Well, similar to kind of earlier, I love services. I love providing more than just a product, I guess, for the customer. When I was in college, I was working at a doggy daycare, right? Similar to your industry, right? Yeah. And I got a call from an old boss, Joe Arias, saying, hey, you have an interview on Monday. And I was like, glad I applied, right? No idea this was going to happen. Yeah. And he got me a sales position inside of a landscaping company. It was more of a national kind of model. And I got to learn for about a year and a half what it was like to sell property maintenance services to not just the local area, but on a regional and a national level. I had a lot of fun doing it. I ended up moving over to the local side. It was more of a cleaning company and a general contractor that focused in more like building maintenance, like building repair and stuff. Yeah. And once I just really developed like a true love for it, and I would say I found a lot of ways to maybe make it better. Yeah. Today, actually, I focused a lot on some of those key pieces of like how I can separate myself from a competitor. I would say it's a ever evolving industry too. So there's so many challenges. Like you can walk onto one site and it can be a completely different story than the other site. Oh yeah. Even with a lot of these recent jobs I've had for painting, some people would think painting is painting, but a wall might be different texture, or the trim is different. The way you have to prime it or mask it off and prep it is just a little bit different. So I just love those challenges. Yeah. It kind of keeps me going, you know what I mean? When it's not always the same thing day in and day out. It's a little bit different. Yeah. Tell me about your first client and the journey to get there. Because I remember you posted in the group and you're like, hey, I ordered 10 yard signs, and you
like were hesitant to put out the first two because you just, I don't know, you felt weird, right? Right.
Yeah.
And then you got that call.
Yeah, I would say when you're an entrepreneur, right? When the highs are high, they hit, right? So, my first actual customer was a commercial customer. It was super small, $300 a month. I think for me, that was just the proof that I can do it.
Yeah.
I had this very similar conversation with a friend yesterday about sometimes all it takes is just getting that first one, right? Once you get your first one, you've like proven to yourself, you have the conviction, right? Like you are confident again in that space.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit, when I started this, I would say, I think it was the beginning of October, midway, like the second week of October, I was already questioning. I was like, did I make the right decision here?
Yeah.
Am I stupid? Why?
We all go through that,
right?
man.
I'm like, why? Like I have a family to feed, I got bills to pay, and I'm like looking at my accounts. I'm like, dude, what did I do? Right? And then I think it was just like a day or two later, I landed that customer, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. Sure, it's only it was just a small little contract, but that small little contract has already turned into a bigger contract and another one, right? So it's like, you have to remember where you came from, that small, and then it just builds, right? So that was, for me, just proving to myself that I'm delusional, but not that delusional. I have some sort of
well, that's part of entrepreneurship, right? Is you have a mission, you don't know how you're going to get to it, you just figure it out along the way. So putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
So actually, so I don't know if you'll ask this later, but I have this whole argument on like why I went to school. You're an entrepreneur, like why'd you go to school? Well, I actually have some notes I was going through last night from school. And one of the things that I learned, and you kind of said this, was that entrepreneurs, they act to plan versus managers, they plan to act, right?
Yeah.
You, as entrepreneurs, we have to create a problem almost, like we have to create action in order to be able to plan for it, right? Versus a manager is already hired because there's a problem at hand, and then they need to plan and mitigate it, and you know what I mean? So it's just a little bit different as an entrepreneur, is you really have to create your own opportunity.
Yeah. I don't know if you ran into this yet, but when you're talking about solving a problem, sometimes we find issues that we need to solve, but then it creates other problems, right?
Yeah.
So has that a roadblock you've ran into yet?
I mean, a little bit. I wouldn't say it's even a roadblock. It's just like part of the game. Like I get excited over it. It's like I solve this, and then maybe there is a little thing that's like, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
And typically that's actually why, going back to the whole why would you choose contracting and services, that happens every job.
Yeah, I can
every
imagine.
single job. You figured it out. You say, hey, here's the scope of work. Here's my price. Here's what I can do for you. And then you start on the job and you go, ah, shit, right? I got to figure this out, right? So it's like being not just being a vendor, right, but being a strategic operator is what I would say. So how can you always fill those gaps and just be communicative? And that's why I love that part. That's like an extra part of the contracting.
I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but what are you naturally gifted at?
I mean, so that's a subjective term. Depends on if you ask my girlfriend or not, right? It's like I like to say just talking, but she's like, you talk too much. But I would say I'm pretty good at making relationships with people, and
I would say so too. You're a good connector too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I think I just love community. So I think community is like probably my number one why. If empowering my community, strengthening it, is always my why. I'm always figuring out how I can do it. So is that connecting you with different guys that I know? Is that connecting X to Y? And then, you know what I mean? So that's kind of my thing, is how can I strengthen the community with anything I do, whether it's the nonprofit or the business, just with my friends, my family, everything.
Yeah. Speaking of nonprofit, let's talk about Third Community Collective.
Of course.
So what sparked that idea?
So going back to the landscaping company I worked for,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just, gosh, like 2 months or so working there. Me, Joe Arias, and Wyatt Stimson, we all kind of came together and we wanted to start something.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really know what it was. At first, it was maybe an LLC. We were actually thinking about doing like not an acquisitions, but more of a equity or like an investment based group. But then we were like, what are we talking about? We have no money. So we kept bouncing, like, how could we do something? And we landed on maybe we can do a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. And I watched a TikTok. I'm always watching TikTok. I have a problem. But I watched a video where this guy was talking about how men, specifically men, don't have a third place anymore. Mm. And that might be, or probably in his opinion, what was the main reason why guys are so depressed and suicide rates are high and everything like that, right? Mm-hmm. Is that all guys do is they go to work all day and then they come home, right? They don't, like, it's the same repeat and rinse cycle. And it can be long and draining, and depending on their lives, even if if they're single or even if they're married, it can get old and stale, right? Yep. And just feel alone. A lot of times men feel alone because of that. A lot of guys and just people in general don't go to church as much as they used to, might not have a good group that they can go to the pub with, whatever it is, right? So we started with this concept of third community collective, a third place for men. And we decided that we wanted to empower them. We just didn't know how to until literally the day before our first meeting. We were like, hey, we're doing this. What is it about? We're not sure yet. We're going to figure this out. And that was kind of that imperfect like action of like just starting it, right? Yep. But I guess you could say, like the mind, body, soul part. Mm-hmm. So the way we lead it, obviously you know this, but we have mind, body, soul, and then we have personal growth, passion, and purpose. Mm-hmm. When I had, like when I was part of this, I guess you could say, like when I was we were developing this, I really wasn't fond of like the mind, body, soul stuff. Mm-hmm. Like that's more of a holistic thing that I wasn't really familiar with, and I just kind of pushed it aside for a while. Versus Joe and Wyatt, they loved it. Yeah. And my whole thing was personal growth, passion, and purpose. And when it was funny, while I'm on the clock as a W-2 employee, I'm like looking at this. I'm like, how can we? And I just looked at it, I go, wow, we can actually just connect them all, just make them one thing. Mm-hmm. Mind is personal growth, body is passion, and then soul is purpose, right? So if we deliver these mind, body, and soul events, hopefully you leave feeling personal growth, passion, and purpose, right? Development in those sectors. Yeah. So that was kind of the unique way that we wanted to approach it, and it really turned out.
Yeah. You mentioned how guys, like at least in this day and age, right? They feel alone. It's hard to make friends. I know because I went through my own experience post-divorce, even while you're married, right? Yeah. It was hard to make friends as an adult, especially when you move around, right? A constant theme that has come up in these conversations is vulnerability and not being afraid to be vulnerable with people, right? Yeah. Let them know what you're going through. How important do you think that is for guys nowadays?
It's very important, especially with men. We hold our own thoughts in. We don't speak. We don't talk about them. We might be scared. We have a lot of ego maybe in the way, right? And that's something that at least the men's group, and then in general, trying to break that, right? Like it's okay to speak with one another. We can. It's okay to get vulnerable. That's the one thing too. It's just entrepreneurship is that if you think that you can do this by yourself, that's the max level delusion right there. Yeah. Like you need to be able to find different systems or find people, leverage them, like leverage your community. And that's why I think when I try to connect people, I think of that, right? It's like I have this guy who says, hey, I just looking at buying this business and it kind of didn't go the way I was hoping. Well, let me connect you with someone who's done it before, right? Like this guy can give you a little insight, right? So I love it when people can be vulnerable with me, and I almost want to like influence it or like make them feel like it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Like it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to let your ego aside and say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing.
Yeah. Was there a time or a moment with 3CC that you were like, damn, this is bigger than us?
I would say actually after the first one.
Yeah.
So the first one was a pilot event. We don't even have it like as a part of our like regular like numbered events that we do every other week. But when we very first started, we did like a pilot, and it was more or less an introduction to like who we were as people and how we wanted to affect the community. And out of all people, after the event, probably the most emotionalist man I've ever met. I won't say his name, but an individual who, yeah, I would say thinks that maybe 3CC could have been a cheesy kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And he calls me and he was like, dude, I think what you got is amazing. Like this is something super unique. I actually see the effect that it can have on the community. When I got that phone call, it changed everything for me. So I knew from day one, I was like, we need to take this serious and actually do something about it. It's funny too, because I started that way before I started my actual entrepreneurship journey. So I started a nonprofit, and I just feel like the prioritizing, the people you're with, and just the community.
They say you are who you hang with.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if I can help give back in any way, then I think it helps me too. I'm not technically, the group is for guys like you who are participants in it, but I also of course receive some sort of benefit, and the main benefit is seeing the effect it has on people, and there is a little bit of pride there for me. Of course I'll have to admit that. But it's amazing. Like I love serving people. It's right. It's all like, it feels like a service, right? So similar to what we said earlier. On the weekend, I bartend too still, right? Same thing. Like I love doing it because I just like love serving others, right? Being a servant leader is probably a big thing in my life, and that's a big part of 3CC, DynoPro, everything I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Switching gears a little bit. How has becoming a stepdad changed the way you look at success?
I guess you could put it into terms of becoming a stepdad is like my success. Like what I do doesn't just affect me, but it affects others. Yeah. Right. It directly affects different things that can go on at home, with my lady, and then with the future of my stepdaughter. Like we want to eventually get married and have our own family too. So if I can provide for those kids and they're happy, then it affects everything, right? So it's like giving my stepdaughter siblings, stuff like that, right? So I think that to me, the ultimate goal of business is to, of course, the generational wealth of this podcast, but part of it is being with my family and not hopefully working that W-2 9 to 5 until I'm 65 or past at this point with everything they're saying. And hopefully being younger and retired, right? And being able to really help raise my kids and be there for my kids and stuff.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like when business pulls you away, does it make you feel guilty?
For right now, I don't actually. Funny enough, that's a great question. I know where my goals are, and I know at this moment where I'm an infant, LLC still. I'm an infant entrepreneur. I know the grind has to be real. Sometimes it sucks, but at the same time, it's like I remind myself it's all for a greater purpose. It's a struggle now, so it's easier later, right? I forget the term, but it's like sacrificing, like it's like partial sacrifice, or it's like a time
delayed gratification.
Yeah. So being thankful for what I have now and just working my butt off until I can get more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's something you're actively working on in trying to be a better father figure?
That's a great question. So that's funny because I would say this is a question that maybe my girlfriend, she thinks about it as a mom a lot. And that's why I love that about her. That's one of my best things is that when I very first met her, she was like in a very big personal growth part of her life. And I would say she still is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always trying to like think about how can I be a better mom. She like watches podcasts and reads books over it. Like she's really big into it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say me, especially because since I'm a stepdad, I always try to be the best. Like I'm always like playing with her. I try to take her to the park when I can or go get food with her. I think my main thing is just being present when I can, as much as I can. Like just be present because I know that she does love me. Like she does have a lot of fun with me. I'm mainly like the days that I can be there, I want to be there in full. Like I don't even want to be thinking about business as much or try to compartmentalize the family and business as much as I can.
That's good because that is definitely something that's hard to do. I feel like it doesn't matter what stage you're at. I mean, maybe at some point right down the line. For me, I've graduated from the infant stage to the toddler stage.
Sure.
It's funny you say that because when I went to the bank, I'm like, hey, I don't think this bank is the right fit for me because I'm in the toddler stage. I don't have, millions and trillions of dollars. Anyways, I find myself a lot of the time not being able to disconnect from business and be present with them. I could be sitting down trying to watch something like a Christmas movie with them, right? And then I'm reaching for my phone trying to make sure there's not a voicemail I need to reach out to, right? So I'm always curious with people who are fathers or father figures because it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I do try to. I think I compartmentalize actually really well. I don't know why I've been able to do it well. I think it's primarily because the industry still that I represent is a 9 to 5 industry, at least in the commercial space. So after 5, I don't have to worry too much. I don't offer emergency after hour services or anything. So I can be there a little bit more in present. I also kind of love those moments. I do love a good excuse to not be on the computer or not be on the phone. So if it is just simply chasing my 2-year-old across the house, then I love it. Or I'll I'll do this silly thing where I'm like, hey mom, I'm like, May just said she wants to go get food. I'm like, she's like, oh really? I'm like, yeah. She said she wants to go get food. Or hey, she wants to go do this. I'm like, I always use her as an excuse to go have fun, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. In your entrepreneurial journey right now, where would you say you're struggling?
Probably trying to figure out when I can make the shift of owner operator to just owner, right? Getting out of the operator space. It's probably going to take me a year. Hiring and when I need to decide that I might need to take a cut out of my own paycheck to hire someone else on so that I can focus on other things like growing the business and scaling it, right? Since I've only been around for 2 months, I've already gotten to a point where I'm like, wow, the project management's project management's getting to me. How can I leverage this?
Getting close based off of that for sure, which is good, man. After 2 months in business,
I appreciate that.
That's really solid, dude. I mean, I wouldn't say fortunately because you've built a network. You got a lot of folks who you can reach out to and help you get that structured. So
I think you've had Zach on here right already. He's a great bookkeeper. I've thought about him. I know a couple different people that I would hire as a project manager so they can manage these projects. I think I have everything that I know I could hire eventually, at least even whether if it's third party or even in house. The aspect is the crew. When do I hire in-house crews maybe? And then I think the last person I would hire is a salesman just because I do love sales. I don't want to eliminate the part that I love just yet. So
I'd say a struggle with, at least for me, was trying to figure that same thing out, but it's I don't want to pay other people to do things when I can do it myself, and then it's cutting into my well-being, right? I need money to pay bills. It wasn't until I was like, okay, I reframed it as I need to buy back my time so that way I can grow faster. So if I tell all folks you're okay for a few months, you don't need every single dollar that comes in, then hire it out as soon as you can. So is there anything confusing the hell out of you right now?
I wouldn't say confusing the heck out of me.
Yeah.
I don't think there is, honestly. No, that's a good question. Maybe I'll think about it. I don't think there is anything too confusing. At least when you were, at my stage in business, were there things that confused you? Like maybe your story will help me think about mine.
Confused? No, it was always more of how, how am I going to solve this problem?
Yeah.
We run into challenges all the time. I'd say going working with a franchise maybe was a little confusing in like their systems and operations, right? Because they run a $4 million operation. My operation, when I first started, I was lucky if I did 200 grand the first year, and then it slowly started scaling. And I adopted systems, CRM tools or SEO companies or market, like whoever they referred, because hey, it's franchise, right? They have a lot more money to play with than I do as a small business owner, as a startup, even though it's a franchise proven system, right?
Yeah.
And so that actually was a little confusing for me, because I'm trying to figure out like, why does this cost so much? The revenue doesn't adjust it, or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't see the ROI. Yeah. So yeah, things like that.
Fair enough. I think the only thing that's confusing me, or I guess maybe a problem I'm trying to solve, is how can I, either in writing or through my value, whatever it is, and I think I have a good game plan, I worked on it today, of how I can separate myself from a competitor. That's definitely a big thing, right? There are so many contractors out there, especially in Idaho. Anyone can get their GC license. You don't have to take a test like other states, like in California and Colorado. You got to take a whole test, and it's a whole thing, right? And there's different classes. Here, it's just $50. Here's that piece of paper, right? So how can, everyone says that they're lower price, and everyone says they're gonna provide high quality, right? Good material, low price, like we'll show up on time. Like those are all, that's old news. It's like that's expectations if you want to break through the door, in my opinion, right? So working on different ways that I can actually have tangible reasons why I'm different. So today I've been working on on different playbooks and different like quarterly meetings that I can maybe establish with customers on making sure I'm meeting their expectations, not assuming I'm meeting them.
So, I don't know. I feel like in the service industry, just answering the phone. Like if you catch that phone within 2 rings, like you're responsive, then you've got a loyal customer, right? Especially if you follow through with the work that you promise.
Yeah.
So I've ended a lot of partnerships, and when I say partnerships, I mean working with vendors and CPA or whoever it is, because their response time just suck. I send you an email or I call you, you don't get back to me until 2 or 3 days later. That's not somebody that I want to work with.
No,
right?
Not at all.
So yeah,
totally.
How did you get the name DynoPro?
So it's funny, I actually hit this person up today as like a little thank you. But when I was a kid, I would say middle school time. So I grew up playing baseball, and I've always had this skin disorder. It's an extra layer of dry skin, essentially. It's a rare skin disease. And when you're playing sports, everyone gets a nickname. It doesn't matter what. Like they'll find something. They're going to pick you apart, right? Kids are kids. And I never really took bullying as bullying. I just kind of owned it. So one of the teammates, he was my best friend at the time. He was like, dude, you're like a dinosaur or something. And then everyone, like from that day on, Dino was the name. There was a couple other ones, but Dino was like the main one. And I kind of owned it. So through middle school, through high school, and then even moving here, like in college, I always owned that name. And then I knew, when I got let go, I was like, I want it to be around a dinosaur. I want something recognizable. I want a real brand here. I don't want just Proctor's maintenance or it's always someone's name, right? It's always their last name, and that's very cliche. I wanted something that was a little bit more fun. So Dino, right? Put Dino. Naturally, as an American, you take ChatGPT and you say, hey, what can you do with Dino, right? And I think my girlfriend and I both did it, each one of our own ChatGPTs, and there was Dino this and Dino that. I was like, blah, right? It wasn't that good. She came across DynoPro. I was like, yeah, that sounds like good, because I guess it fits the industry. there's all these other, this pro, that pro. Like it's kind of cliche in the service industry to have pro at the end of the name. Well, she said, well, pro could be short for Proctor. So I was like, it's not my last name, but it's like almost a shortened version. So like DynoPro it is. All my social medias were dyno.proctor. So it's like DynoPro. I was like, this fits really well.
That's cool.
And then I just made it services because since I offer a pretty broad spectrum of services, I just kind of kept that kind of open. Yeah. And then, that was the name.
Cool. Yeah. If DynoPro became everything you wanted it to be, what does your future look like outside of you being in the owner role?
So when you asked that question, the first thing that came to my mind was being like a leader in my industry on a national scale. So it's very well known that there's probably like 10 companies that own the facility management space. There's property management companies, there's like water companies, there's regular facility companies like me almost. So there's like JLL and CBRE, which are massive property management companies that then also the way they run their things or their portfolios are through facility managers for the most part and a mixture of property managers. And then there's other aggregate companies out there that lead the industry. And then there's even more, right? Yeah. ABM, all these different ones. I would say in my opinion, like my end goal, it would be amazing in like 20 to 30 years that I sit somewhere at the top of that level where I'm doing things across full bank portfolios and major, retail companies like Target or Walmart, like representing those kind of companies. I think that would be really, really cool. Yeah. That'd be end goal. At least for me, everyone always says like their end goal is to sell the company. I don't know. Like I said, I'm in the infant stage, so I haven't even thought about that. It could happen, right? Selling the company could be the end. Yeah. I think honestly, just whatever I can do to hopefully retire in some sort of way at a younger age. And
do you have like a retirement age in mind?
30, 35.
Yeah,
would probably.
That's like a good goal. You're getting started early, so I think that's a really good goal.
30 to 35 would probably be the area, because then I could still be young enough to do a lot of these things, and my kids would be in that age where they at least understand and they can go on a vacation and it be memorable and stuff like that. So I think that would be a good age.
What does retirement mean for you?
Probably just having the time to do whatever the heck I want, like freedom of time, right? Because time is the essence of everything for all of us, right? Things take too much time, like you said earlier. Buy back your time, right? Hiring someone just so you can have more time. I think if I could wake up on a Tuesday morning and it's like I literally have that whole day to just do whatever the heck I want. That's probably what retirement, like freedom, to me looks like.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm always curious about that. For me, I always tell folks it means work because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, I would drive myself crazy, literally not doing anything all day.
Yeah, I think that's the issue.
Problem. Yeah,
is that I don't even know where I'm at. Like if 30 to 35, I think is a good goal, but it might be an inevitable thing to reach because I might be ready to retire, but then I'm like, I'm bored. So I have a buddy whose brother had an architecture firm, sold it, and then his son started showing interest in business, so he like invested in his son. He's like, I'm bored. Let's do this, right? Like it's like a fencing company or something, like something he hasn't even worked in before. He's like wants a new challenge, and I imagine that could happen with me too. I could retire, but I'm like, do I really want to retire? You always meet. I actually met someone once. He worked at the liquor store, and he was like a multimillionaire. It's like he was just bored. Like he had nothing to do. He just wanted to almost like to feel something again. You know what I mean? Like be a W-2 employee just to feel a little bit of a something. It's like dude's getting paid $13 an hour when he's got millions in the bank. So it's like, what?
Man, I could see myself maybe doing something like that.
Totally.
Yeah. What legacy you're trying to build for your family now and in the future?
It's a really good question. I don't even know if I've answered that myself yet. Like thinking about it. When you say legacy for your family, what do you mean? Can you
For me, it is having, that generational wealth aspects, making sure everybody has money, but not only for myself and my kids or whoever my future spouse is, but the knowledge transfer, right? Like making sure that everybody is self-sufficient, or like it kind of catapults here and then it spreads like wildfire to all of my relatives and whoever else out there that I connected in touch with.
I think my thing then, maybe my answer would be like, at least my kids would be to give them the opportunity to do whatever the heck they want to do with their life. And I'm not saying that in a way of like, if my kid was like, hey, I just want to sit on the couch all day and do nothing, I would, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean more or less is like, if my kid wanted to go to college, okay, you can go to college. Hey, I want to go to trade school. Okay, you can go to trade school. You want to be, hey, I want to go to the military and serve my country. Sure. Like I want to make sure, I think to me, the legacy, kids are a big thing in my life. Like I really do want a larger family. If I can ensure that I've set every single one of them up for success, to give them the power in their own hands to choose whatever they want to do in life, that's like ideal to me. Even when it comes down to school, I would say my parents did this really well for me. My parents always ensured that I like had good grades. One of the ways they did that was like putting me in sports, because you have to have good grades to play. So having good grades, I actually wasn't going to go to college at first. I was going to go to the military, but that was their way. Like if me having good grades and then they like establishing that with me was their way of saying like, you can't tell me I didn't help you set up for success. Like I instilled the values of you for the school, that now you can do whatever you want. Like if you want to go to trade school, I don't care. You want to go to college, I don't care. But you at least are ready for the next step in life. So that's kind of my thing too, is just like, it's almost that knowledge that you're kind of talking about too, but preparing my kids for whatever they want to go do. I'm not going to control what they do. If they don't want to be part of my businesses, then cool. You know what I mean? They can go run an ice cream stand. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like whatever they want to do, I just want to make sure I set them up for success. When it comes to at least like a significant other, I think that will probably change over the years. I know my number one thing, like our number one thing, is getting to a point where we can just grow our family. So at least right now, when you ask me that, it's like, I just want to grow my family, have a family, live those experiences. And then maybe by the time that all the kids move out, we'll be like, what do we do now? Right. The goals will probably change.
Nice. What piece of advice would you give somebody who is afraid to start or try something? It doesn't have to be entrepreneurial journey, right? This early in your entrepreneurial journey, however, in stage of life, what would you tell that person? Imperfect
action is what I would tell them. Just don't be like scared of the outcome. Maybe just get it done and then evaluate it. Right. Say this podcast, right? We're just doing this in your living room, right? It's not like it's perfect. It's not a perfect studio with all the cool, soundproof walls and, a perfect $5,000 camera, right? It's like, you're just getting it started, right? You shoot an episode, you evaluate, you say, hey, do I need to do more or less, right? Like, where can I grow? So I think it's just, if you have a big dream, right? It's just what's the roadmap to get there? And how are you gonna, because they always say, right, the journey is like, it's almost like this up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So that was kind of earlier to my thing with you, is that was that $300 contract for me, right? It was like, do I have exactly all the things in place to get this done? Not particularly, right? But I got the contract and I need to fulfill it, right? So now I can keep proving to myself I can get bigger and bigger contracts as I go and dive deeper into things, right? So I think it's just measuring the maybe the risk at hand, taking calculated risk, and then just do the imperfect action. Don't worry so much. Yes, worry about the outcome, but don't worry about it so much that it holds you back. Just get something out of it done, prove to yourself, get that little bit of confidence, and then you just keep growing on it, stack it. You know what I mean? Because eventually you'll be here, and if you keep proving to yourself that you can do things that are hard, every time it's like the confidence level will just keep boosting up. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like it starts small, and then it just just quadruples.
I know a lot of people who tried things and then they failed once, and then they're afraid to try the next thing, right? If you fail enough, at least in my experience, I failed enough to where I finally got a few successes. I'm like, oh, not everything's always going to go sideways, right? So yeah, I think people just need to get out of their comfort zone and try.
I think it's a cliche thing, of course. Like we always hear, like you're gonna fail and blah blah blah, but it is true, right?
Yeah.
I almost see it with a couple. Excuse me. I almost see it with a couple of people where they almost have like trauma to it. Like they have trauma to failure, like an insecurity.
Yeah.
It's all about proving to yourself. Like you have to remind yourself, like you are the one who can control this destiny. And you just have to like take that one extra step and just get that first sale or whatever it is, whatever that first win. Because once you get that first win, like, yes, you're going to have the lows again, but the wins, they stack on top of each other. Right.
Yeah. So where can people find you, man?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Tyler Proctor. They can find me my email, tyler@DynoProServices.com. My phone number is 208-899-0308. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all. You can find my personal stuff. It's all dyno.proctor. You can find my website for my company at DynoProServices.com. If there's anyone out there that's interested in joining a men's group and kind of venturing down, like being a part of that third community, it's called 3ccid.org. We meet every other Tuesday from 6:30 to 8. This upcoming event actually is this Tuesday. We're going to be doing Do You Value Values? It's going to be a fun one. Yeah, good. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Very insightful, and thanks for being vulnerable with everybody. Again, I think it's really, really important, and we'll have to connect again soon. Heck yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Hey, no problem.